Rusty? Rusty, you ready?
Fine.
Okay. Busy night.
Here's the fresh water. I get these all the time up here.
What's that court today? He's icing it. Good evening. First, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Planning and Zoning meeting for the City of Smyrna. Today is Monday, December the 8th, 2014. It's 6 p.m. and this meeting's called to order. At this time, we'd like to ask that all electronic devices be turned off as they interfere with the recording equipment. For those of you joining us for the first time, this meeting is conducted much like a council meeting. As such, each application will include a presentation from city staff, followed by a question and answer session between staff and the board. Following staff's presentation, we'll have the applicant present their case and answer any questions. Once all the questions have been satisfied, we'll have an opportunity for anyone in attendance that would like to come forward and speak in favor of or opposition to the application. We ask that you come forward one at a time, state your name and address for the record, and please sign the sign-in sheet at the podium. Please direct all your comments to the board. Okay. First item on the agenda is Z14-027. It's the approval for the use of a modular building as a temporary office space for Arkell Veterinary Care, 0.2 acres, land lot 425, 1010 Concord Road, Blue Frog Construction. Mr. Martin, background, please.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this keyboard. Okay. All right, this is special land use request Z14-027. The applicant is Blue Frog Construction on behalf of Arkell Vet Care. You guys will hear this request tonight. Make a recommendation to mayor and council, and it will be heard by the council on Tuesday, January 20th, 2015. The proposed location is 1010 Concord Road. It's highlighted on the map up there. It's approximately a quarter of an acre. It's located in Ward 4. It has a single-family residence on that property, and it's zoned future commercial. The residence is owned by the business owner for the vet that immediately joins to the east. The request here is to use a modular office building as a temporary office space while the vet is being, the existing building the vet is in is being renovated and totally redone. This will allow the business owner to operate while the building is being renovated. As you can see, across the street, across Concord Road, is the remnant parcels from the Concord Road improvement project. The immediate property to the west is zone limited commercial, and it is a small hair salon. All the adjoining properties to the south are zoned future commercial, and they are single-family residences. And the adjoining property to the east is zone GC, and that is Arkell Vet Care. The future land use for the property is medium density residential. They're not proposing to change that land use classification, and as you can see, everything to the north, south, east, and west is all medium density. Here's the proposed site plan. As you can see on the lot on the left of the screen, the temporary modular office building will be located on the front third of the property, in front of the residence. This trailer is approximately 24 by 60 feet. There'll be a waiting room, a couple of exam rooms, a pharmacy, lab/procedures area, and a surgery area. And that'll be shown on the floor plan on the next slide. If you look over to 1020, the property on the right-hand side, that's where all the vet parking will be done on that property. It will remain on the property where it is located today. In addition, there'll be some construction staging and construction parking as well. Here's the proposed modular building and the floor plan. As you can see, all those uses are laid out there. You got your waiting area, your exam rooms, the lab room, x-ray, and surgery area. This is the picture of the existing residence today. So if you can envision that modular building will go directly in front of this house. These are the pictures of the adjacent properties. The top picture is the hair salon to the west. The bottom left-hand picture is the vet care. It's Arkell Vet Care as it stands today. Obviously, it'll be going away. It'll be completely tore down to its foundation, and then they'll build a whole completely new structure. And then obviously, the picture on the right-hand side is the picture of the across Concord Way and what that looks like today. I mean, it's an active construction site. Community Development is recommending approval of the requested temporary modular office building with the following conditions. One being the modular building shall only be allowed for a period of 8 months after the issuance of a building permit. If the applicant shall need the building for a longer period of time, they should reapply for approval. Number two, the location of the modular building shall be in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted. And number three, the exterior facade of the modular building shall be significantly similar to the renderings provided. With that, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions for Mr. Martin? Thank you, Rusty. Is the applicant in attendance? Could you please come forward and tell us a little bit about your plan? Tell us who you are first. Welcome.
Hi, how y'all doing tonight? Sean Rainey, I'm with Blue Frog Construction. Thank you for your time. As Rusty said, we are planning on taking down the existing Arkell Vet Care and rebuilding it as per the variances that we received in front of your board a while ago. So we've just got to make sure there's an area for Dr. Pettit to be able to practice while we're doing that so that her practice can continue. So we've put together a mobile trailer with the rooms that a typical vet care would need so that she can do that, have clients in, see them, do minor surgeries as needed, and in the meantime while we're doing our construction.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Rainey?
Is there a pretty good chance that you'll be finished in 8 months?
Yeah, we'll probably be finished in 4 or 5 months.
Okay. I think so.
That's what our current schedule shows.
Okay.
More questions?
Thank
you, Mr. Rainey. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
This is a public hearing. At this time, we'd like to ask if there's anybody in attendance that would like to come forward, speak in favor of or opposition to the application. All right. Can we get a motion?
With that being said, I say that special land use permits Z14-027, we approve it Do I have a second?
We got a motion, Mr. Seagraves. A second. Motion to approve, Mr. Seagraves. Second, Mr. Roberts. All in favor? It's approved 5-0. Excellent. Good luck with your project, guys. And good luck with your good luck with your business. Oh. Rusty. Rusty. Is he logged in? Yeah. It's approved 6-0. I said 5-0. Mr. Rice is not logged in. My apologies for the technical difficulty, guys. We haven't been using these fancy computers all that long, so they tend to confuse us from time to time. All right. On to the next item. We've got zoning request Z14-028, rezoning from LI Cobb County to RMC 8 conditional in the city of Smyrna. It's 5.161 acre land lot 691. It's 4719 and 4680 South Cobb Drive and 4696 Oakdale Road. This is Pulte Home Corporation. Rusty, the background, please.
All right. This is both an annexation and rezoning request. You guys will be hearing the rezoning request tonight, and Mayor and Council will hear both the annexation and rezoning on January 20th. Just to give you a little background, the applicant, Pulte Homes Corporation, did originally apply for rezoning with Cobb County. Cobb County processed the application. Basically, their board of commission requested that the density be lowered for the site. They didn't feel they could complete the project as proposed with the density that Cobb County was requesting. Pulte withdrew the application from Cobb County. Cobb County accepted the withdrawal with prejudice. And then subsequently, Pulte applied with City of Smyrna. It's the annexation opportunity. Applied with the same plan as they applied with Cobb County and applied for annexation and rezoning with us. So that's how we're here today. Joel's pretty much outlined the location, size of the tract. It's located in Ward 7 if it's to be annexed, which means it'll be in Councilman Fennell's ward. There's 2 existing commercial/industrial buildings on site today and 1 single-family residence. The applicant is proposing 41 new single-family townhomes. These townhomes will be front entry townhomes with 2-story building and basically 28-foot wide product. The existing zoning for the property is light industrial in Cobb County. The applicant is proposing RMC 8, which means it's residential multifamily with a maximum density of 8 units per acre. The existing future land use in Cobb County is Neighborhood Activity Center. They are not requesting to change that future land use. So if the annexations to go through, we would accept it and we would designate this area on our future land use map as Neighborhood Activity Center. We have a corresponding future land use designation that's essentially the same as county, so it wouldn't be an issue. The adjoining contiguous future land uses around to the north is industrial. That's located in Cobb County. To the east, on the other side of Oakdale Road, is medium density residential. That's also Cobb County. And to the south is Neighborhood Activity Center. There's a single family home and an auto parts store and that's also a designated neighborhood activity center. Across South Cobb Drive to the west is industrial compatible, and that is City of Smyrna. That's the location of the waste transfer facility. Here's the proposed site plan. The applicant is proposing a driveway entrance off of Oakdale Road. They're proposing 10 guest parking spaces and some open space in between the townhomes in the middle and a mail kiosk. This street and utilities are all proposed to be private, so they'll be owned and maintained by the HOA. In addition, the applicant is proposing the curb and gutter Wright Road and Oakdale Road where curb and gutter do not exist. These are the proposed home elevations. Pictures of the subject property. As you can see, there's quite a significant elevation change from South Cobb Drive and Wright Road. The first picture is from Wright Road. The second picture on the right-hand side is from Wright as well. And then the bottom picture is from Oakdale Road looking back up towards South Cobb Drive. These are pictures of the adjacent property. As you can see, top left-hand corner, that's the auto parts store that's immediately across Wright Road and on South Cobb Drive. Next property to the next picture to the right is, I'm sorry, the property immediately behind that. And then we have some of the single-family homes located on South Cobb Drive. Community Development is recommending approval of the rezoning from RMC 8 for the development of 41 townhomes at a density of 7.75 units per acre with the following conditions. I'm not going to read the first, I believe, 14 stipulations or 13 stipulations. Those are standard conditions, and they apply to almost every subdivision we rezone. Number one, basically the composition of the homes shall consist of a mixture of elements. Number two, there shall be protective covenants on all lots. Number three, the developer shall provide a minimum area for common space and open space. Number four, there shall be stormwater management facilities provided and should be approved by the city engineer. Number five, utilities are to be underground. Number six, developers shall be responsible for any traffic improvements deemed necessary by the city engineer. Number seven, strip of brick pavers and stamped concrete shall be provided at the subdivision entrance. Number eight, the development of any streets shall conform to city standards. Number nine, no debris should be buried on the site. Number 10, there should be decorative street lights within the development. Number 11, the developer should comply with the city's tree ordinance. Number 12, all plans should be designed and stamped by a landscape architect. Number 13, all yards and common areas are to be sodded. On the special conditions, these are specially designed for this site. Number 14, the development shall maintain the following setbacks: a front setback of 50 feet, a side of 35 feet, and a rear of 40. 15, the development shall maintain the following building separations: separation of front to rear of 50 feet, a minimum separation of 30 feet for rear to rear, and a minimum separation of 20 feet side to side. 16, the minimum floor area for each home shall be 1,800 square feet. 17, the backs of the residence shall have a 3-foot water table and water table feature of brick or stone, and a building elevation facing Oakdale Road shall have solid brick Number 18, the driveway shall have a minimum length of 22 feet from building face to back of sidewalk. 19, each home shall have a fire sprinkler system.
Rusty, would you like some water?
I need some, man. I don't
Here.
know if we have any.
Sorry about that, guys. He's about to pass out. It's killing me. Not on the electrical stuff. You all right? I was feeling guilty drinking my own water. That's why I had to offer him some.
Number 21, developers should provide a right-of-way dedication of along Wright Road of 25 feet from center line of the road. 22, developers shall install a left-hand turn signal at the intersection of South Cobb Drive and Wright Road. This improvement should be coordinated with the city engineer and approved by GDOT. Number 23, developers should provide a 5-foot sidewalk and 2-foot grass buffer along Oakdale and Wright Road and South Cobb Drive, and a 4-foot sidewalk and 2-foot grass buffer within the development. Number 24, the developer shall curb and gutter road frontages along Wright Road and Oakdale Road. Number 25, the developer shall remove and close all driveway aprons along Wright Road and Oakdale Road frontages that the development renders unnecessary. Number 26, the developer shall provide a minimum of 10 guest parking spaces for the development. Number 27, no stormwater management facility or portion thereof should be located on any portion of the proposed lots. The stormwater management facility shall be solely located on HOA property. Number 28, all trees within the limits of disturbance that are not located within a tree protection area must be removed during the land clearing and grading phase of the development. Number 29, the existing metal building that faces South Cobb Drive and the brick ranch home facing Oakdale Road should be boarded up within 30 days of the family vacating the site and demolished within 60. And number 30, no blasting shall be done on this site without 48 hours notice given to the neighbors within 1,000 feet. There should be no blasting on Saturday or Sunday. And the blasting shall only be done between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. 31, approval of the rezoning shall be based on a site plan provided. In 32, the applicant shall be bound to the elevation submitted. Just to give you a little info, there are so many stipulations on this because we carried over some of the already agreed upon stipulations from the county and incorporated them into this. So we weren't having to rehash issues that were already rehashed in the public hearings with the county. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions for you guys.
Rusty, you're talking about 41 units. When I keep reading the map here, it just has 40. I don't see 41.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's just an error then.
Okay,
It's
it's 40.
Any other questions for Mr. Martin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, once we get a determination of jurisdiction, then we'll figure out how that needs to be addressed, whether it be through the city, through the variance process, or the state will handle it. But if the state grants approval to pipe the stream, then obviously the city will follow suit because the stream will no longer be there in our. Well, it'll be there, but the buffers won't apply because the stream will already be piped. So.
I suppose this doesn't need to be asked, but I will ask, are these rental properties or are they going to be for sale?
Owner occupied. Owner occupied.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. Martin? Thank you, Rusty. Is the applicant in attendance? Come forward, guys. Tell us a little bit about your plan. Welcome. Good evening.
Kenneth Wood, 350 Research Court, Peachtree Corners, Georgia. For the PowerPoint, how do I go from slide to slide? Forward and back. Okay. Okay, perfect. That works. You want to slide it over?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Awesome. Well, great. Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. As you guys know and went from Rusty's presentation, this is a 5.16 acre tract of land that you see on the aerial above you. I've highlighted the location of the property so you can get a very good determination of its proximity to Oakdale Road, which is there on the eastern side of the property. And just above that, you have a little bit of light industrial strip, and you're pretty much adjacent to West Village, the mixed-use development there in Cobb County that has higher-end townhomes, single-family, the urban village, and some of the multifamily apartments that are there. And then directly across the street, Pulte has a development they did several years back that has townhomes that are almost directly across the street. And then just behind those, more single-family homes. And then obviously it's bordered on the other side by South Cobb. So what we're requesting tonight is all for sale townhome. They are 2-story. So the product that Pulte is looking at constructing on this, you can find a very similar product type behind Home Depot headquarters. They did another project here recently in Cobb County at a very similar density that is a very similar style product where it's 2 stories. It's a much wider product than the typical townhome you see, and it lives well with the master can be down or on the main. It's 7.75 units per acre is what we're proposing. On the recent submittal you guys have seen, we were at 41 units. We dropped it down. On the site plan, we actually ended up taking off one of the units to spread a longer building and break it into 2 different parts. And looking at the Smyrna zoning map, one of the reasons that, beside West Village, Pulte was really targeting this site was its proximity to Oakdale Road and being inside that corridor where a lot of the redevelopment is occurring and a lot of the new development. When you look at the map, you see the activity centers. You see there is some multifamily across the street, higher density. Obviously, you have West Village that was above 20 units per acre in its zoning. As you go over to the future land use map, as Rusty indicated on, we are in a neighborhood activity center, which bodes well for the density we're requesting and the type and style of units we're looking at. And then from the county zoning map, which shows the rest of the designations around, you see where the PVC, which is basically the planned village community, that's the Cobb County designations for the higher use. And then as you go down Oakdale, you have a mixture of zonings between light industrial, RM8, and R20 across the street as well. And we basically went through some of the stipulations, and there was just a couple of them we were looking at that we didn't feel like we really had control of. So just to bring those up, on number 22, we have to comply with whatever Georgia DOT tells us as far as that being able to modify that signal. But obviously we have to meet with them as part of the project, and so we will do that. But it's unknown whether that they will have a study that justifies being able to put that in onto it. One of the other ones is we were looking at the driveway lengths. The current driveway lengths we had were actually 18 feet behind the sidewalk that we were looking at doing. So we just wanted to mention that as well. And then the last one was on the sidewalks that surround the property. We're good with all the conditions. The only place where we need a little bit of leadway to either pay into a sidewalk fund or bond or do something is along South Cobb Drive. There's a couple of places where the grade is so severe, and Georgia DOT controls that. I'm not sure we can actually physically get in a sidewalk. So just something to mention on that. We can come back to that if you have questions. Oh my gosh, did you see how fast? Hey now, just kidding. Hold on, can I try that again? All right, I'm going to pat it really slowly. Okay, so we're back. So before, when we were going through the Cobb County presentations, I was not part of it, but they had a neighborhood meeting at the Vinings Bank, and some of the issues that came up from the neighbors are listed up here. From the density was one. We feel like with the area in West Village around and the walkability that it is appropriate for the 7.75 units per acre to be there. Stormwater was another item that came up. Right now, currently, this is a light industrial site, and it has no stormwater controls. All the water that runs on it, there's hardly any trees, just runs off and runs right down to the neighbors. And so we're actually putting in a full scale, City of Smyrna up to the Blue Book standards stormwater management system. And as part of doing that, we actually think will really help the stormwater issues in that area, because it is such a flat site and the stormwater pours off of it very quickly. Parking spaces, visitor parking spaces, we increased on the board that we have here tonight. On the submittal, we had, I believe it was 6 parking spaces. We increased that up to 10 at the request of Rusty, so that we had additional parking spaces for the visitors. We also had a long building along Wright Road, which you see there on the right here along Wright Road. That building was a 10 to 11 unit building, and we broke that up into a 6 and 4 on the most recent plan. Impact to surrounding property values is another question that came up, and we really feel like we're targeting the high 2s into the 3s with these townhomes, and that would actually really help property values in that area compared to some of the other stuff that's there now. Blasting was another one. We're not planning on blasting. We've done a lot of geotechnical exploration out there, and we don't see that happening on the site. I'll go through the look of the product before we have some additional product looks that you guys can see tonight. On the Wright Road widening, we're donating some additional right-of-way there, but we don't actually control that road, and so we were not planning on widening Wright Road. And then the sidewalks across Oakdale, across the railroad tracks, is into the Cobb County right-of-way. Something we don't control. I mean, we definitely would love to help with the neighbors to push on Cobb County to make that happen, but it's something a little bit out of our control. And then on the left turn warrant signal, like I was saying, it's up to Georgia DOT, but we can definitely inquire that as we run through the process. So this is to the site plan, the current site plan that you have before us. Right now we're proposing 2 above-ground detention ponds in the center of the community. We enter off Oakdale Road. We felt like that was the best residential road. That's where the speed brakes have been put in, up Oakdale Road in front of West Village to help with traffic coming down through there. The units that you see backing up to Oakdale Road, those are all 4-sided architecture, as might have been mentioned a little bit earlier. And we plan on wrapping those. You can see, like I was saying, very similar style, and seeing the ones that are on the one behind Home Depot to get an idea for what some of the 4-sided architecture can look like there. For the site plan design, we looked at a loop road, in doing that just from a circulation standpoint, and also to get that middle good community feel for it. A minute ago, someone brought up the stream that's on the site. Basically, 95% of the stream is currently piped across it. And when we were going through Cobb County, Frank Gibson with Cobb Erosion actually deemed that it was not a stream, and so we were just performing the plan as is. When we met with Eric, the city engineer for Smyrna, he determined that it would have a buffer, and so we are moving forward with going through the process with the EPD to get the buffer taken away. It's already very impacted. It's piped and then not for a very short section, so we don't really expect any problems with that. This is the house product that you guys have seen tonight. This is some additional photos that we had from another project that are here. And granted, the colors and the brick will vary. You know, they'll be very traditional in style for this area of Oakdale Road, but I wanted you guys to see this so you would have an idea of what the product looks like in more of a color pattern of what we have to offer here. And you can see from where the driveway is, obviously the garages are going to be a different feel to match the community, but it's a good picture to see the width of the home. You know, it definitely looks more like a single family home sitting there than it does a townhome, because you're talking about lengths of 28 feet wide, where most of them are 22 to 24 feet wide. We also basically when they had the meeting with the neighborhood, the other thing we talked about that I hit on a little bit earlier, let me go back to this. In here, the other big thing, as I hit on earlier, about the stormwater. So one of the reasons, you know, as we come in and build the stormwater facility that we're looking at, we chose to break it up into two different areas, as you can see from this plan, into two different areas, and that was to provide. We've got to provide the water quality in there as well as the volume storage. We also still have the pipe that's being routed on that back road from the plan. And so, you know, we really feel like with those two large areas, we'll be able to provide, you know, plenty of stormwater. We're also agreeing to the condition to reduce the 2-year storm by an extra 10% from what it is. And so what that does in layman terms is basically the 2-year storm is a storm we see a lot in Atlanta. It's the more frequent heavy storm. And so the more you can reduce that storm, that controls the everyday flooding more than anything else in there. And so with that, I'd like to reserve any time for rebuttal.
Any questions for Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Campo
What's the price of the units?
or Mr. Rice?
They'll be starting in the high 2s and quickly going into the 300s.
And if everything's approved, when do you plan on starting?
If it's January, so it's roughly mid-January, so it'd be mid-February for appeals. I'm looking over at Matt, who's my lead engineer, and he probably wants some sleep. So let's just say that it's 3 months for approvals. February, March. I would say be starting in the summer.
Thank you.
Under construction.
You call it a railroad, but those tracks, that's just a spur. That thing's dead, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
The big hope, and back when I did West Village as the engineer for West Village, the hope and the talk of that was that would become the Silver Comet kind of connection all the way over to the city of Atlanta, and so or some function of a trail back over there. And so that's still, I think, the hope today. I don't know who controls it, if it's CSX or who it was, but it's not active.
Mr. Campo's got a question for you.
My question is the Pulte Townhouse development behind the Home Depot. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Is this basically going to be the look of what you're going to be putting into this development?
It's very similar. It's very similar to that.
I also noticed that the pricing on those units are in the mid 300s.
It's yes, sir. So a lot of times from a marketing side, the information that, like, for when we were going through the zoning in Cobb and that, it was the high 2s into the 3s, and then once it starts getting built out, it becomes the mid 3s. So I would imagine that, they're really nice homes. I would imagine that the price, and I could let Chad speak to that more, but the price will probably creep up into the 3s pretty quickly, just based on materials.
Thank you.
Is that what you're projecting for this site as well?
Yes.
Any further questions? All right, thank you very much for your time. This is a public hearing. At this time, we'd like to ask if there's anyone in attendance that would like to come forward and one at a time speak in favor of or opposition to the application. Please state your name and address for the record and sign the sign-in sheet at the podium. Good evening and welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm Mary Rose Barnes. I live at 4756 Oakdale Road, just down the road from this tract, and I'm a president of Oakdale Community Association. Sorry. I'd like to point out 3 things before I make my comments. Mr. Wood said that across the street there are townhouses with single family behind them. That's incorrect. Across the street there are single family houses with townhomes behind them. And Mr. Martin said that the Board of Commissioners wanted to raise the lower the density of property. That never got to the BOC. The Planning Commission did that. And thirdly, it is not the same plan presented to the Board of Commissioners. There are significant differences. We're disappointed the developer has chosen to keep us out of the loop in this application. We did not receive the stipulation letter until noon today and are still awaiting the latest version of the site plan. Obviously, the timing is not sufficient for us to make a truly informed recommendation to this application. Neither did this last-minute timing provide this board with time for a full review, and we certainly did not have time to forward our comments to you. We respectfully request this item be tabled. This board and the neighbors have appropriate time to study the application. It must be noted that staff made its comments without a stipulation letter. Failing tabling this item by the board, we reference deep concerns about the proposed zoning. The stipulation letter does not state whether the units are to be apartments or homeowner occupied, or what the makeup of rental would be to ownership would be in this case. That is critical, very critical. There should be no more than 10% rentals allowed. The letter does not even reference the supposed RMC8 zoning category applied for or the number of units requested. We realize that the intent of the RMC8 zoning is for low to medium density. Again, the stipulation does not reference the number of units, which supposedly is at 40 at this time. It is our understanding that changes to the number of parking spaces were made after consulting with the Fire Marshal's office. We do not know what other requirements will be made or if they are noted in the latest site plan. Safety is the utmost importance. Pulte's lack of timely information for the neighborhood is particularly upsetting because Pulte built the Park Avenue project across the street. During our negotiations with Pulte during the county zoning process, we specifically requested that they keep us in the loop and work with the neighbors. We expected more from them than this. Mr. Barrett did not contact us until I left word for him to call me. Pulte left Park Avenue with myriad unsolved problems, environmental issues, including stormwater problems, and a sewer backup. We can imagine that they would treat the owners of this property in the same manner. Pulte is planning to build a product that is no way compatible with the Pulte single-family homes across Oakdale Road. A barricade line of 800 square foot homes facing Oakdale Road would diminish the property values and environment of owners of the existing product. We made several requests of Mr. Barrett, all of which were refused. We asked that Pulte build 6 detached homes along Oakdale Road to blend in with community. The corridor from Atlanta Road down Oakdale Road to Park Avenue is single family. That corridor needs to be maintained. He said he could not afford to do so. If this accommodation would be made, the density would be closer to the intent of the RMC8 zoning, and the neighborhood would be protected from the look of attached houses. Mr. Barrett refused our request to extend the sidewalk from the project across the railroad track to give his tenants or homeowners, whatever he wants to put in there, and unobstructed sidewalk access. Without this extension, people would have to across busy Oakdale Road with their dogs and strollers just to have access to sidewalks without a break in it. It can be done. The railroad allowed the extensions for our neighborhoods on the other side of Oakdale Road. Mr. Barrett refused our request to widen their section of Wright Road to conform with the top of the road. Wright Road is a nightmare traffic situation now, and this project would bring more traffic to it. It is narrow and unlined to the bottom, causing bottlenecks. We asked that Pulte forego all blasting, but Mr. Barrett refused. Although he claimed that there is no blue granite on the site, he acknowledged that there is some less dense rock which they would like to blast. Pulte caused immeasurable damage with blasting at Park Avenue, with damage to my home several feet away. and much more damage to other homes. We do not want to see a repeat of this disaster. Pulte has not restored homes already damaged by their blasting. Likewise, vibrating rollers should not be used. They are more dangerous than blasting. To the end of protecting our neighborhood, we request the following stipulations. 6 detached homes along Oakdale Road frontage to provide a better streetscape. No gating to be allowed in this community. No blasting allowed. No use of vibrating rollers. Sidewalk extending across Oakdale Road. Maximum height of 35 feet, measured to the eaves. 2-car garages with sufficient parking for 2 cars in the driveway. I cannot imagine a product that wouldn't guarantee a 2-car garage. The HOA to be responsible for landscaping and upkeep of detention facilities. Construction hours to be strictly adhered to. I know that's in the code, but we've had problems, and we need our protection or our time off from all the work. Cobb and State DOT standards to be upheld. Again, that's in there, but that's very, very, very important. All units to be, as I said before, all units to be for sale with a maximum of 10% rental at any time. All construction vehicles and equipment to be parked on subject property and not along any public roads. No stacking of vehicles along the roadway. I will add that many of these items that I'm mentioning here were in the Cobb County zoning, in contrast to what was earlier said. They were not included in their letter of stipulations. There are other issues that we'll discover as we go along, but we haven't had time to look into all of them. It is to be hoped that Pulte would be more responsive to his property owners at this juncture than they have been in the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Ms. Barnes.
Sign it and bring it back. Is that all right?
Come on, she'll bring it back. She's going to sit down and sign it, so you can go ahead and get started.
My name's Randy Barker. I live at 4665 Oakdale Road. My wife and I just right across the street from the...
Welcome, Mr. Barker.
Thank you. I don't live in the city, so I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight.
We're going to have to ask you to leave now.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
The land our house is built on, we built it about 5 years ago, but this land's been in my wife's family for over 60 years. She grew up in a little house on the corner. She's lived in this area her whole life. I live down the street. I grew up down the street. I mean, this has been our neighborhood for all our lives. And I basically don't have any problems with this project. It's a valuable piece of property. I know that, and we've been knowing it's going to be redeveloped. And I'd rather look at something like this than what's there now. But I do just have a couple of problems with the property. One is the rear of the units face Oakdale Road. I just think this is they're creating their own neighborhood rather than trying to fit into ours, and I just think they could redo it to just to better fit in. And Ms. Barnes commented, and I think it's a good comment, that any direction you go, the first residents you hit are single family and not multifamily. You've got to get like one project removed to get to multifamily. So they're somewhat of an aberration in this area. But I mean, if we're going to get them, I think they could do a few things like turn around and facing us just for a better appearance. My biggest concern, and part of this is selfish, is that the driveway's coming off right across the street from my house. So from a perfectly selfish situation, I'm not real happy about that. But from a more bigger picture, Oakdale Road has a lot of traffic. And I think anything we could do to keep traffic off of it would be a help. And if you look at the pictures of this property, the primary entrances to the small single-family home, which was a business, and to the two buildings, the driveways have always been on Wright Road, and that section of Wright Road is fairly well improved. And so if we could enter and exit there, maybe a lot of this traffic from this property would go to South Cobb Drive and not get on Oakdale. And the intersection at Oakdale and Wright is a terrible little road, and it just, we don't need any more traffic. And I think it's interesting to note that when Pulte first presented a site plan to the county, they had the entrance on Wright Road. According to my conversation with the DOT engineer, during pre-planning, they found out that DOT would not object to the driveway being on Wright Road, Oakdale Road, or both. So they came back and redrew the plan and increased their density from 38 to 41. So it appears to me that the driveway here has no other purpose than increasing density. And I would like to see it moved around. And as to the stream, I live downstream from this, so we have some concerns on flooding. We don't really have any problems now except for huge rain, so I'm not really sure exactly what they're going to do to control flooding. And there's a culvert way down at the other end of my property, which I think I've tried to get someone to listen to me about when they do their downstream study, that they look all the way down to this existing culvert when it goes back under the railroad track. And I have also talked to Mr. Gibson in Cobb County Erosion Control, and he told me that this is a stream. It's shown as a blue line on the county maps, and he said that it can't be moved without EPD approval. So that just seems to be a little contrary to some of what we heard tonight, and so I'm not really sure, but that's what I've heard. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Is there anyone else? Don't forget to sign in the sign-in sheet. We send out postcards. That was a joke.
Good evening,
Good
ladies
evening.
and gentlemen of the board. My name's James Luttrell. I live at 4776 Terramon Lane in Smyrna, which is just down. I'm in the Park Avenue community, which was developed by Pulte. I live in a single-family home, and I'm also on the board on the Park Avenue Homeowners Association board. I think the couple of concerns, I think you've heard some of them, so I'm not going to try and repeat them, but the main concerns that we have speaking for myself as a homeowner in Park Avenue, as also a member of the board, we are not opposed to the development of a neighborhood, but we are opposed to a neighborhood that becomes too dense and that causes impact to the area by the density. We're concerned by the designation of RM8. I think when this went before Cobb County, the Planning and Zoning Commission, the initial stages were recommending an RM5. I think that would be something that could be more in line with the area, in that we have a road, and Oakdale Road, the traffic issues that you have and that road, and with especially with when you look at Oakdale and going to Wright Road and going on to South Cobb. We currently don't have a left-hand turn lane going from South Cobb going on to Wright Road, and we also currently do not have a left turn lane going from Wright Road to South Cobb. At Oakdale and Wright Road, there's only a stop. We don't even have a four-way stop. Right now, Oakdale, there's no stop signs. The stop signs are only at Wright Road and at Park Avenue across the street. So we're concerned about the traffic concerns. We're also concerned about the environmental impact with the stormwater. How is it going to be? Because we were previously told at one of the neighborhood meetings that there's going to be some underwater detention pond, and we're concerned about the environmental impact that what's been proposed by Pulte to deal with the stormwater. We're concerned about the environmental impact. And finally, I think to Ms. Holmes' question about whether it was going to be rental, I can tell you as a board member of the Park Avenue Homeowners Association, there wasn't sufficient controls to keep it from being, to prevent or curb the rental of townhomes. We're dealing with issues where in the bylaws it's supposed to be 90% homeowners, only 10% rentals. There's been a lot of loopholes around that, and I think we're well over that 10% threshold. So I would be concerned about what protections are going to be put in to keep it from to keep down the rental numbers. So with that, I would agree. I think this needs to be tabled at this time so we can get more information and more studies. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. Well done.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. My name is Tracy Esslinger. I live at 2225 Park Avenue, which is across from the proposed development. And I'm not a City of Smyrna resident either, but I can tell you I'm a very happy, satisfied former City of Smyrna resident. When I sold my home, being thankful to the planning that you guys did over the years I did enjoy, a very nice profit from that, and I have always admired the thoughtfulness and planning that City of Smyrna has and is doing. So thank you for hearing from us tonight. I am opposed to this amount of density. Would love to see a development. Would really love to see a single-family home development go in. I'm also concerned with our home values. We have enjoyed a nice rise in our home sales in my neighborhood and around the area, and want to keep that going. And my home also backs up onto the stream that's been getting discussion, so I have a concern with that too I'll be speaking to. If I could, I'd like to hand out, and I'm sorry I don't have enough, some of you may need to share. Can I approach?
Come on. Yeah. But don't give them to Earl because he won't share. That's all right. No worries. No need to apologize.
So to speak with the home values, the gentleman mentioned that they thought this might actually help the home values of the surrounding area. And I just wanted to show you, we live in a very special pocket of Smyrna, just off 285, the Oakdale community area. And in case you haven't been driving through that road in a while, I wanted to share with you and walk you through some of the surrounding area. The first picture is of Mr. Ben Hart, who spoke tonight. This is directly across the street. The second picture on the front is the Brookfield subdivision, which is directly next door to the proposed development, and it is on about the same size tract that's being proposed for this development. Yet they were able to do a very nice looking single-family home subdivision. We would welcome a subdivision like that. They enjoyed high selling prices as well and kept the look of the community with the single-family homes and the upscale architectural details. The next picture down is of the next subdivision, Vinings. I believe it's Vinings Cove. I may have the cove wrong, but it's next to Brookfield, and you can see what those homes look like. At the bottom of the first page represent the existing homes that are lining Oakdale Road, and you will see the nice craftsmanship style, also upscale homes enjoying higher home sales than what's being proposed for this subdivision. Going to the second page, this is the neighborhood that I live in, the registry, $500,000 and up for the single-family homes in there right now. These single-family homes are directly across the street from the proposed development that are starting in the 200,000s. In the middle of the page, and I'm sorry for the formatting, but one of the things that we requested of Pulte for this new subdivision was to duplicate the beautiful job that they did with the single-family homes along Oakdale Road. The single-family home, you can see, enjoys a walkout to the Oakdale sidewalk, and then the back, you can see the back of those homes. And they were beautifully done on the back so that the townhomes looking at the backs of these homes are enjoying a nice view as well. And those homes are still maintaining their value. So, we would welcome the beautiful job Pulte did with what they did across the street there. And the next home down is an historic home actually on the property that is looking to be developed. I believe they're going to tear this down. One of the things that Cobb County requested, which I didn't see in what has been carried over, is that the home be preserved somehow. If they're going to knock it down, at least take pictures, get biographical information, and archive that somehow with the city or with the county, and I hope that is somehow carried over as well. On the last page, in the West Village, although it is a high-density development, the part that is closest to this proposed development is of $800,000 plus homes, and you can see a picture of that. So you can see everything that's close to this proposed development is of much higher home sales and home values. Now, I will tell you where there is a townhome subdivision with the same types of elevations that were shown tonight. There's a small section of West Village where those types of elevations were tucked in the very back of the West Village development. And there's a reason they're in the very back. It's the lowest home sales that were in West Village. Now, where the other place where you'll see some townhomes are in our neighborhood, which are closer to the South Cobb end of Oakdale Road. And I'm sorry somehow it didn't make it to this handout, but I know I'm not supposed to turn this on, but I have a picture of what the townhomes along our Oakdale Road look like, as they look very different. Can you guys take a look if I pass this around?
It's fine with me. You can't talk while you do this because it'll affect the recording. I was joking.
There's no garages on the front, and it's a very architecturally detailed, nice that we've enjoyed. Architectural detail. And then last on this handout, at the end of Oakdale Road where it goes into Atlanta Road, you see this sign. Townhomes set starting in the 400,000s. Whatever goes in here will sell quickly and will sell for the top of the market. It's a hot area right now. You can ask any real estate person. So please, if it goes townhomes, please let us have along the front at least single family to maintain that look of the neighborhood and the highest, value that can go in there. By the way, what they did show you with the elevation, they said it was similar to what's going in behind Home Depot. But if you have a chance, drive through that subdivision, and it is architecturally more detailed than what is proposed to go in here. Regarding the creek, it is indeed a creek that's running through there, and I live downstream from it. My property backs up to it. We do occasionally have flooding problems as it is, and so whatever happens there, please, whatever engineering needs to happen, make it tie into, be closely looked at. In our own subdivision, while I love Pulte, they did a great job with our subdivision, we did have a problem with where they routed underwater creeks through our subdivision. There was several, I want to say, probably 6 to 8 story wall that started sliding down because of the underground creek that was not routed properly. So whatever's done there, I direct your attention to that planning as well. One thing I promised to bring up tonight to a neighbor because they couldn't be here. I have mixed feelings on this, so I'm just going to throw it out there. The spur that was mentioned for the Silver Comet Trail, there have been neighbors asking if with this development somehow that trail could be put in, even if it's nothing more than like gravel, whatever the least amount would cost to get that connected just, down by Publix. It's not a far stretch at all. That would, Pulte, I think, would enjoy higher home sales there, and it would be of service to the area. So just that to be said. And I will close with this. At one of the neighborhood meetings, Pulte mentioned their target audience would be couples who were looking for convenience to the city and to their jobs. And 8 years ago, my husband and I were that couple. And when we looked around, if we just wanted convenience, any vast number of the hundreds of townhomes along 285 would have been fine. We could have moved into there. But we were looking for a place to raise a family as well. And then we stumbled across this little jewel of Oakdale, this little tucked away Oakdale Road that you go from 285 and the convenience of a city to a tucked away forested area with old growth trees and with creeks, and we even see deer and raccoon and a blue heron I saw the other day. It's amazing. A library you can walk to, these older homes with the traditional details. It's a special place, the Civil War ruins. We've got historic homes there. We've even got like parks and courtyards already in the neighborhoods that we can walk through with our children. 8 years later, I have a 5-year-old. We've enjoyed this type of environment. And I would just ask you tonight, in addition to the home values, Please just let us keep this area as green as possible. This type of density is just, we need a gentler use for this special part of Smyrna. So with that, I thank you. You know, went a little long, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for coming. Anyone else in attendance that would like to come forward, speak in favor of or opposition to the application? All right. Well done on your presentations, guys, both for the application and the opposition, or the guided opposition. You guys well spoken on both parts. Obviously, it's part of the community you guys really care about, and it is a beautiful part of the community. There's no doubt. All right. Any further questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, on zoning request Z14028, rezoning from L1 Cobb County to RMC8, conditional, Smyrna, 5.161 acres, lands lot 691, 4719, 4680 South Cobb Drive, and 4696 Oakdale Road. Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval, Mr. Rice. All in favor? Oh, second. I'm sorry. I need a second. I have a second, Mr. Campo. All in favor of the motion? Please vote.
We can't vote.
Here it comes. Sorry. Motion, Mr. Rice. Second, Mr. Campo. We're having a technical challenge here, y'all. We can do it the old-fashioned way. Motion, Mr. Rice, for approval. Second, Mr. Campo. All in favor, please vote. All right. We have a motion, Mr. Rice, a second, Mr. Campo. Raise your hand if you vote yes. Raise your hand to signify that you vote yes. All right. I need a motion.
It's not going to work.
The motion to approve did not pass. Yes, we have two. We have a vote of two.
All in favor?
We have a vote of two by virtue of a motion and a second. All in favor? The votes denied. The motion's denied. 2-4. Right? We need a subsequent motion then. We can get...
Here it goes. There it goes.
All right, I'm sorry. Now it's working.
See, mine says I'm absent. Don't go ahead and vote.
All right, now would you guys please vote? We have a motion, a second, and 4 nays.
There it is.
Okay. The motion has failed. So we need a subsequent motion. That? The motion has failed. That is it. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the zoning meeting November 10th, 2014. Are the board members in possession of the minutes? Approval of the minutes?
Make a motion we approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Rice. Second, Mr. Roberts. All in favor? The minutes are approved, 6-0. With no further business, this meeting's adjourned at 7:10. Thank you.
Thank you.